You're fired. The 3 words Jason never expected to hear hung in the air between them. Not today. Not when Lily had her dance recital. Not when he'd promised, really promised this time, that Daddy wouldn't miss it. As he stood frozen in his boss's office, about to lose everything, he noticed something strange. Diana Winters, the so-called Ice Queen of Meridian Publishing, wasn't even looking at him. Her attention had drifted to the window where she silently watched an elderly couple walking hand in hand in the park across the street. What happened next would change both their lives forever. If you've ever judged someone without knowing their story, this video might just change how you see the people around you. Hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories that remind us all that beneath every tough exterior beats a human heart with its own untold struggles. Jason Carter had been working at Meridian Publishing for 3 years. Once a rising star in their marketing department, his life had imploded 18 months ago when his wife, Melissa, was diagnosed with aggressive lymphoma. 6 months of watching her fade away, of hospital visits and false hopes, had culminated in becoming a widower at 34 with a 5-year-old daughter who still asked when mommy was coming home. His work had suffered. How could it not? Deadlines missed while taking Lily to therapy sessions. Presentations half prepared after nights of comforting a child waking from nightmares. Distracted meetings when school called because Lily was crying again. He'd used up all his leave, exhausted the company's goodwill, and today, the day of Lily's first dance recital since her mother died, he'd been called into Diana's office. Diana Winters had a reputation throughout Meridian. At 42, she'd climbed to Senior VP of Operations through ruthless efficiency and impossibly high standards. Employees called her the Ice Queen behind her back, never married, no children, designer suits, and a gaze that could freeze your excuses mid-sentence. She'd taken over Jason's department 2 months ago, and everyone knew she was clearing house. "Ms. Winters?" Jason said cautiously when she continued staring out the window, the elderly couple now sitting on a bench, the man gently adjusting the woman's scarf against the autumn chill. Diana blinked, turning back to Jason with an unreadable expression. "Your performance has been unacceptable for months, Mr. Carter." "I know," Jason admitted. "After my wife." The Patterson campaign was due yesterday, she continued as if he hadn't spoken. "The client is threatening to pull their business. I can have it ready by tomorrow morning. I just need tonight for your daughter's recital," Diana finished flatly. "Yes, you mentioned that earlier. And last week it was a parent-teacher conference. The week before, a doctor's appointment." Jason felt heat rise in his face. "She's all I have." Diana's gaze drifted back to the window. The elderly man was now helping his wife stand, patiently supporting her as she struggled with what appeared to be arthritic movements. Something in Diana's expression shifted, so subtle Jason almost missed it. "That couple," she said quietly. "They come to that bench every Thursday. Same time. For years." Jason remained silent, confused by this unexpected detour. "He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 5 years ago," Diana continued, still watching. "Early onset. Some days he doesn't recognize her at all. But she brings him anyway. Same bench. Same time." Jason glanced at the couple, then back at his boss. "How do you know that?" Diana's lips pressed together. "Because she was my literature professor in college. Dr. Eleanor Winters." She paused. "My mother." The revelation struck Jason like a physical blow. In 18 months, not once had anyone at Meridian mentioned that Diana's last name matched her mother's, or that she had a connection to anyone outside these walls. "I'm sorry," he said reflexively. "That must be difficult to watch." "I'm not sharing this for your sympathy, Mr. Carter," Diana said, her voice regaining its professional edge. "I'm telling you because I need you to understand something about deadlines and priorities." Jason braced himself for termination. "Every Thursday at 3 p.m., I leave this office. For 90 minutes, I sit with them on that bench. Some days my father remembers me. Most days, he doesn't. But I never miss it. Her gaze hardened. And I never miss my deadlines either. The unfairness of it stung. With all due respect, Ms. Winters, helping your parents for a scheduled 90 minutes a week is not the same as raising a grieving 5-year-old alone. You think that's all I do? For the first time, a crack appeared in Diana's composed facade. My mother lives with me. Has for 3 years. I bathe her, dress her, manage her medications for rheumatoid arthritis. I coordinate my father's care facility schedule, his doctors, his good days and bad. I haven't taken a vacation in 4 years because there's no one else. Jason stared at her, the office suddenly feeling too small. The difference, Mr. Carter, she continued, her voice low and controlled, is that I don't bring that to work. I don't use it as an excuse. I make it work because I have to. Something shifted in Jason then, a perspective that had been locked in his own pain suddenly widened. How? The question came out before he could stop it. How do you make it work? Diana seemed taken aback by his genuine tone. Systems, she said after a moment. Routines. Backup plans for backup plans. I don't have backup plans, Jason admitted. It's just me. My parents live across the country. Melissa's family. He trailed off. They couldn't handle the grief, so they're not in the picture. Diana studied him, then nodded once and opened her laptop. The Patterson campaign. What's the real holdup? Surprised by this pivot, Jason hesitated. The presentation is done, but the mock-ups. Lily was sick Tuesday night. I couldn't. Email me what you have, Diana interrupted. Now. Confused but hopeful, Jason pulled out his phone and forwarded the files. Diana scanned them quickly, her fingers moving rapidly over the keyboard. The concept is solid, she said finally. The execution is what's lacking. She checked her watch. What time is the recital? 5 o'clock, Jason replied, still unsure where this was heading. Diana turned her laptop toward him. I'm making edits to your presentation. Watch what I'm doing. For the next 20 minutes, Diana efficiently restructured Jason's work, explaining her methodology as she went. Her approach was different, more streamlined, more impactful, and Jason found himself taking mental notes. This is how I manage my workload with my family obligations, Diana explained. Block scheduling. Templates. Decision trees that eliminate wasted time. I can show you how to adapt this for your situation. Why would you help me? Jason asked, genuinely confused. You were about to fire me. Diana paused, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. When my father was diagnosed, a colleague covered for me for 2 weeks. I never forgot it. She turned to face him directly. And maybe I see something of myself in your struggle. The difference is I had years to develop these skills. You had parenthood thrust upon you suddenly. She closed her laptop decisively. Go to your daughter's recital. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., be in this office. We'll finalize this together and submit it by 9 a.m. After that, we're going to establish a new system for you. Jason could hardly believe what he was hearing. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Diana warned. This isn't charity. I expect results. But I also understand now that you need tools you don't currently have. As Jason stood to leave, he hesitated. Ms. Winters? What you said about your parents. I had no idea. None of us did. That's by design, Mr. Carter. But why? Why hide something that clearly takes so much of your life? Diana's expression softened almost imperceptibly. Because vulnerability in leadership, especially for women, is often perceived as weakness. "I don't think that's weakness," Jason said quietly. "I think it's the strongest thing I've ever heard." Something in Diana's carefully composed expression crumbled then, just for a moment, before she quickly recovered. But Jason had seen it, the human being behind the Ice Queen facade. "Go to your daughter's recital, Jason," she said, using his first name for the first time. "Take videos. She only gets one childhood." That evening, as Jason watched Lily twirl on stage in her pink tutu, he snapped pictures and recorded videos as instructed. When the recital ended, he found himself sending one particularly sweet moment to Diana with a simple message: "Thank you for making this possible." The next morning, Jason arrived at 6:45 a.m. to find Diana already in her office. Together, they finalized the Patterson campaign, which the client approved enthusiastically. But more importantly, Diana began teaching Jason her systems for balancing work and home responsibilities. Over the next few months, something remarkable happened at Meridian Publishing. Diana and Jason developed a professional respect that gradually evolved into friendship. The Ice Queen reputation began to thaw as Diana, with Jason's encouragement, allowed small glimpses of her personal reality to become known. Not as excuses, but as lived experience that informed her leadership. 6 months later, Diana implemented a company-wide flexible work program specifically designed for employees with caregiving responsibilities, whether for children, aging parents, or other family members. Jason became its first success story and eventually its coordinator, helping others learn the systems that had saved his career. On a Thursday afternoon a year after that fateful meeting, Jason found himself walking through the park on his way back from a client meeting. He spotted Diana sitting on that same bench, between an elderly couple. The man, her father, was having a good day. He was laughing at something Diana had said, while her mother held his hand. Jason waved but didn't approach, respecting their private moment. Diana nodded in acknowledgement, a genuine smile crossing her face. That evening, Diana sent Jason a text: "Tell Lily her dance teacher called. She's been selected for the advanced class." Jason stared at the message in surprise. He hadn't told Diana about Lily's dance evaluation. Before he could ask, another message followed: "I recommended her. I've been taking adult ballet classes there on Saturdays. Life's too short not to do the things that once brought you joy." What had begun with a boss silently watching an elderly couple and a desperate single father facing termination had transformed into something neither of them expected: a support system that extended beyond office walls, built on the understanding that everyone carries invisible burdens, and sometimes the strongest people are those who help others carry theirs. 3 years later, when Jason was promoted to marketing director, he found a handwritten note on his desk. "We're all fighting battles no one knows about. Your compassion that day changed everything for me too. Diana." If this story touched you, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Sometimes the most profound connections begin when we dare to see beyond the professional masks we all wear. Everyone you meet is carrying something heavy: a sick parent, a grieving child, a burden you cannot see. The words you choose to speak in those moments could break someone down in the most healing way possible, opening doors to connection and understanding that transform lives. And that moment when Jason simply acknowledged Diana's invisible struggle instead of just his own? That came from my own experience with a manager who appeared cold and distant until I learned she was silently battling cancer while supporting her team without a word of complaint. It taught me that judgment is often just a failure of imagination about another person's reality. Maybe this story will help someone see the human being behind the boss, the coworker, or even the stranger who seems difficult. Because sometimes, all it takes is one moment of genuine understanding to change everything.